doing this video to you. I'm honored, or I don't know if honored support. I'm really glad that I can do this video, and that is important to me that I say that to you. I haven't done videos for a long time, and there's a reason for it. It's because I'm learning in real time. So every day I learn something, and sometimes I learn a lot from one day to another, and often enough I learn so much in one day that it's like very exciting to me. It's exciting to learn something in one day that like is something that I could learn in 2 years. It just happens sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time. But I talk to God, and He tells me I'm not crazy, and I'm perfectly sane and normal. And I value all life forms. I don't hurt bugs. When yellow jackets fly around me, I don't run, and I don't even worry about it, because they're not going to sting me, is what I'm told. So they might fly. Yellow jackets might fly around my feet sometimes. They did just a minute ago, and they hung around me like for a few minutes, and I didn't worry about it because I was told that they're not going to sting me, and I listen to God talk to Him all the time. I want to share some information and say that the most important of all issue is that we have to, as a country, learn how to do something that we're not very good at. In fact, that we fail at completely, and that we try so hard to get it right, everything we're doing. We try, but we're not quite getting that right. And it's not that, well, it's not that it's a problem so much, but it's not really a problem because, this country, we follow this God of this world, and the God of this world is a God, and He is the God of this world. And there's also a God in that heaven, and Jehovah and Jesus. And it's a fact that no one is going to believe what I'm saying. And I'm aware of that. No, a lot of people won't believe it. Maybe most of them. So I'm just doing this video so I can share some information with you. And I could also let you know that I've grown a lot, and I've grown a lot spiritually. And since I've done my last videos, I stopped doing them because I was told to stop doing them. It was important that I stopped doing them utterly because I was in the wrong spirit, and I had to get in the right spirit. So I was doing too much of this problem before, too much of this anger, this frustration was on me doing the videos before, and now I got something that is new that I'm taking that's hard to take. So understand that I had to work however long it's been since the last videos I did till this video. I had to learn something that I was really worried about and even scared of. So there was something that scared me. Literally, I felt stupid because I was scared by something that I was not even really, well, I understand what that is now. That is a condition of the human race. The problem of America doing something. Okay, so the problem is that America is doing something that is important to do, and that is to be other people and try to be each other, in a sense. like what we have to work on is having an important reason to be each other, and we can be each other. Understand that we can be ourselves, and then we're not each other. There's a bug on my thumb. I don't hurt bugs. I wouldn't hurt a fly. I don't hurt flies. I don't swat them. If there's two flies around me, I'll tell them to go away. And if they don't go away, I'll move and hope they don't follow me. But I don't even hurt a fly. I wouldn't hurt a virus. I wouldn't hurt a bacteria. I certainly wouldn't. I would tell like, myself in my head, I would tell, any diseases I might get, I would tell them that I don't want to fight them, or that if they're going to we should get along and not fight. Ultimately, it's kind of crazy, huh? To like talk to your body and say like, I don't have to struggle and get sick or something, like that's okay with me to be each other and try to be working in the world together. And I could try to like be with you and work with you, and I don't hurt people. And I think life is precious, and every life, even bugs. And like, it's a little ridiculous. I know I go down to bacteria and viruses. I'll just say, don't hurt me. I'll try to talk to the virus in my body and tell it to just try not to hurt me. It's crazy, but understand I'm not crazy. I'm only doing what I think probably the Indians did. It's a practice that is trying to get in touch with your body and your soul and your mind. Like when you talk to yourself, you're talking to your flesh, your bones, your spirit, and they can listen. So I talk to God every day, and I've been doing a lot of praying and praying to God and asking him questions and asking him stuff, and he tells me a lot. And sorry, there's lying spirits that I want to talk about. In 2016, I started talking to what I thought was, I was really mad at God in 2016. I had liver failure, and my eyes turned yellow, and I was told I had 30 days to live, and this was 2016. So the doctor told me in the emergency room that I had 30 days to live. I wouldn't make a month, and if I kept drinking. She said I was dying, and that was 2016. I think it was somewhere in the middle of 2016, July or August, but I can't remember exactly. And I was with my girlfriend at that time in the emergency room, and I I had been looking for God all my life, and I always talked to God my whole life. I was trying to find him. So I once roamed the entire United States when I was in my early 20s and 30s. Excuse me. Okay, so it's important to know that that we are doing a combination of like two spirits in this world. We're doing a combination of we're doing like this strong spirit of God. It's strong like an army, like someone guarding the Germany, like someone it's like a Fort Knox, man. He's like Fort Knox. He's locked and loaded and holding his own. And that is a spirit which is not like a Fort Knox or like the wall in Germany that separated Germany. And the wall was torn down in '89, which is good because we're not fighting anymore, and we're not against each other anymore. And understand that I've understood and grown and learned so much in the last month that you wouldn't believe it. You certainly won't believe it. You probably won't believe anything I'm saying to you now. And ultimately, I'm aware of that I wasn't being quite right when I was doing my videos before. I was too much of this anger and too much representing this kind of madness. But understand, this is not a problem, but this is a madness that we're feeling. And it comes from misunderstanding, and also from how we're doing a spiritual state of mind. So we have this spiritual state of mind, which is like your own, holding your own self, being yourself, and you're not anyone else. So Taiwan is excuse me. Okay, so Taiwan is doing this behavior, which is protective. It's kind of a protective behavior. It's like a real strong, this kind of warrior mentality. And Taiwan needs to realize that this is okay, in the sense that this is also not okay. This kind of protective mentality, because it turns you into a soldier, and then you're in a state of militaristic, spiritual realm. It turns into a militaristic realm. So what Taiwan is doing is turning into all this protective soldier mentality of soldiers. So they're holding their own spirits, and they're not each other. They're not open to others. It's a protective, like something's wrong and we need to protect ourselves. We're gonna grab this big tough guy. And ultimately, what they're not realizing is that they are actually in their natural state, in a state that they cherish, which is not militaristic. And if they can get into that place, they're happy and they're trusting. If they can do that, open up a little bit, and it's going to be hard. Understand that when you're in kind of this state of protective mentality, where you're like this soldier, this strong guy with a gun in your hand, it's a spiritual state. It's a spiritual state of mind, this madness, and it turns into madness. But understand, this is Superman. And if there's a big S on your chest, it stands for Superman. And people are going to take this Superman mentality because it will kind of protect you. I mean, it does make you strong. And it also is like Fort Knox closing off. It's like protecting your gold. It's like a mentality where you're holding an AR-15 in your hand and you're guarding the German wall from, and understand that that wall's been torn down. But in many people, that wall is still up. So in a spiritual sense, many of us in the United States have mentalities kind of like there's still a wall between, like in Germany, there's still East and West Germany, and people are still in the mentality that the wall's still up. They're still guarding in their spirits. They're in this place of torture. Well, this becomes madness when it's cut off from the world. And this is a state of like a soldier with a gun, this madness. It's described as this place in our mind where we place this strong, protective Fort Knox, close my door, close my spiritual door. I'm not you. Get back. Now I've got a gun and I'm saying, okay, well, now we're all doing this madness and we're all just like protecting ourselves. It's like, well, it's madness. It's utter madness. And what God would say, what he said to me is that they won't believe you. And I said, okay. But he said, it's okay because they will probably get the information they need to know. And I love to share information. I also want to talk about Taiwan again, right? Taiwan and Vietnam. Okay. Vietnam War started and changed the world. Ever since the Vietnam War, we have been different. And at the end of the Vietnam War, the United States lost a spiritual battle. And I say spiritual battle because it wasn't the United States. Well, everything changed. Did you know how 70s were peaceful after the Vietnam War? Do you know how the 70s were like after 75, between 75 and 80? You remember Jimmy Carter? He was the best president ever. Jimmy Carter was probably the best president that ever could be. And he didn't really do much special, except he did something that was a model for the world. Jimmy Carter should be like the model for that, whatever that place is. Jimmy Carter did that so awesome, and he was the president that was really cool. And so if you think of Jimmy Carter, well, then that's what you should try to do, is what he does. Jimmy Carter knows. Now, Reagan wasn't bad. Reagan turned well, something that was brought into the world. Carter tried to bring it to the world, and a lot of people didn't like Carter because he was like representing something that was strange to everybody. But you know, the 70s were the most peaceful time in our whole world. Like the late 70s, that we had a great time after 75 when we moved out of Vietnam. We had a great time. And I mean, the world was peaceful from 75, and it was the start of the last man getting out of Vietnam. And understand, when we came to the United States and we lost, understand, we lost the spiritual battle, and ultimately it was great, because look how much peace we had for 5 years, 75 to 80. Try to study that place. 75, the year 1975, 1976, the bicentennial year. The United States, everyone was wearing bathing suits on the beaches. Like, there was no war. We were at peace, totally like, wow, yeah, the late 70s were awesome. And why? Because Vietnam won the war and forced us to be in a spiritual position we didn't want to be in. We were trying to get them to get into our position. We had this kind of World War II mentality. The United States had this strong mentality, which was not to be other people. It was this singularity. And ultimately, it's not bad. I love it too. But the problem is as a country, when we do too much of this kind of militaristic behavior, we won't be social. We won't connect with each other. In fact, we'll disconnect. And it's a habit that we do. We disconnect from each other as a rule, and then we try to go socialize with each other disconnected, and we call that our connection. It's like as if, let's disconnect spiritually from each other, and then I can come over and talk to you, and we can hang out disconnected, and we'll say that's our connection. It's not that. We're not connected. It's this disconnection. And hang on. Okay, Taiwan is in trouble. Taiwan is in trouble. It's an issue that is a problem and it's going to affect them. They need to relax and believe it's okay that this is a fact and not going anywhere. It's okay to do this kind of militaristic behavior because it protects us. So we need to not be threatened by this militaristic behavior. We need to know what we're feeling is this disconnection on purpose to protect ourselves. So when you feel like somebody's a threat, well, what you're feeling is that they're a threat. It's that they have this mentality of militaristic cutoff from you, holding their own, and they're not like they're against you, but they're not against you. They're ultimately disconnected and then trying to figure out how do we socialize together. If I'm disconnected from you, then what do? I'm not going to want to talk to you because I'm disconnected from you. I can already feel it. So how could I be social with you? I can't. Well, I won't, because I'm disconnected from you already. And understand that if I can connect with you, it's it's that greatness of that open kind of like, okay, I accept you, I'm not against you. And that is a connection. It's when we're connected. And so if somebody's doing that, trying to connect with you, well, then that's great. But we're okay. We say that's not a threat. That's awesome. You want to be open to me, and you're not closed off at Fort Knox. Protecting like a military guy with a gun is an example of this behavior. He's not wrong just because he's holding the gun, and he's walking across the wall in Germany, and he's guarding the East Germany from West Germany. Well, I mean, boy, this is what behavior is all about. I talked to a guy today that was in Germany, and he told me about it. Like Fort Knox, they guard the gold. You'll never get in there. And so what we're feeling is, imagine Okay, Taiwan, relax. You need to relax. It's not a threat. The issue is not a problem. It's that you are in contact with the God of this world. And you are talking to the God of this world now. And you are not a threat whatsoever to us. We don't know how to do this mentality that we have correctly. We're not stupid, just misguided, or we don't understand enough about what to do when we don't have any mentality. We don't have a spiritual understanding. We need one. It's desperate that this world is more in the knowledge of what is going on. I want you to know that I'll offer you knowledge, which makes me feel really good about myself. And I like to get into this strength, but ultimately it's not a threat whatsoever. It's just a mentality that's protecting itself because it doesn't understand. It doesn't understand. It's a misunderstanding in a world that causes conflicts and wars. And in Vietnam, Vietnam is all that is left of what happened to them. They won. They gained something that they have now, which they also had before. And ultimately, they won in a spirit. The Vietnam War in the spirit, the Vietnamese and the Taiwanese, they won the world. They won the whole, like it was a whole great thing, because they got that greatness, and they said, we got that, and we are all that great, and we won. And ultimately, some of them were doing this militaristic behavior in that kind of pride, which is kind of like us going, wow, I don't know if that's right, what you're doing. And ultimately, they're the ones that wanted that in the first place. But ultimately, some are in this pride. That is what they're really doing, though. I mean, they're trying that they're doing it, that something that is good, except that they want to have pride in that place they're in. And ultimately, if they're not in that place, they're not in that place. They're not in. And so they don't know. A lot of them don't, and they're here. I'm saying here, it's mostly the Americans that are unaware that is a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing the Vietnamese won the war, because America was doing a mentality that they didn't want anything to do with, and except the hippies were all that crazy in protest because they wanted something. The hippies in the 60s and 70s were protesting because they were with Vietnam. They were saying, we want something that is great to us, and you're going to try to take it away and make it this militaristic place. Ultimately, the hippies didn't want this craziness. And ultimately, our government wanted to be strong in this greatness. And it is great. So this is okay. I'm not saying this is wrong. This strength I have, it's a strong spirit of pride. And ultimately, well, it's not what God wants, really. And ultimately, it's okay. This is okay. This mentality, this strong, because we're putting up a big wall. But it's just, it's not a show. It's more like we feel comfortable in it. Like what's that, man? I'm World War II. I'm an American. Yeah, see, after World War II, America was the new power in the world with Russia, and America had this strength that they never had before. And America was ruling this country in this mentality. And so there was a lot of this strong, this strong kind of willful greatness after World War II. And by the time Vietnam started, it was because there was a big press spiritually to get rid of this militaristic mentality that America gained after World War II. But it was good for us. We loved it because we said, this is awesome, man. We got this strong, man. We're America. We're ruling the world. And ultimately, we lost everything that was important to Taiwan and Vietnam and all of that area. And most Russia, all that they are, and maybe some of that greatness, they say that it's better to be other people and try to like not just be disconnected, but try to connect to other people. It's something that we need to do. It's important that is an open placement this is a closed placement and disconnected from others. So this mentality is a disconnected placement or state of mind. It's not good. We're, as a country, doing this this madness because of misunderstanding what we're even doing. We don't really know what we're really doing. We feel it, but we don't know what it is. So let's talk about a solution. Be kind to one another when this state of mind is within you. That we must learn correctly. Learn that we don't truly understand as a country. We're kind of blind about a spiritual principle. And unfortunately, we're so proud in this, and there's nothing wrong with this. I love Trump. He is so strong in this greatness. And ultimately, Biden is presenting himself to be everything that he should, and maybe behind closed doors, he's doing this kind of behavior, which is the mentality of I'm strong. So to be like Taiwan is in trouble. Okay, Taiwan is in trouble and needs to understand that it's a good, not a bad place to be in. That fact, we as Taiwanese people, us, we are in that placement of a spiritual state of mind that is strong to us, but it's a weakness to the United States and other countries. So what I'm getting here is, sorry, I rode my bike. If I'm looking like sweaty, it's because I just rode my bike. I rode my bicycle now. I lost my car. It's a long story. I've got a bicycle. Want to see it? I ride it all around, and I get good exercise. I'm really in good physical shape now, and thank you, God, for helping me, for talking to me. Thank you, God, for helping me understand I was missing a lot. I was stuck in this militaristic attitude and kind of angry because it was representing kind of something that is not happening in America, and something that is supposedly happening in America, and it's screwing everything up. We don't understand. So let's talk about what that is that we need to know. There's two spiritual states of mind that we're in. And if there's a spiritual state of mind that we're in, it's really that we're in this placement, and we think that we're in something that is another placement. It's being other people. So when you're in a state of mind that is correct, it is not hiding anything underneath. It doesn't have a ulterior motive or two-faced mentality, because understand that we feel each other. So let's say that we choose a state of mind. So we say, as a rule, let's all do a behavior that we love and that we're going to agree upon. And then we take that behavior, we agree that we're going to do that behavior, whatever it is, and we say, okay, let's do that. Okay, what is that? Well, it's ultimately whatever we're agreeing to. It's a nice kind of, hi, how are you doing? That's great. Awesome. How you doing? It's a kind of friendly attitude, but the problem is underneath, it's really this placement of the militaristic attitude. It's not really doing that as it's presenting itself to be, which means the Taiwanese are having a problem because they want to do something that's pure and not have it like, they don't want to be two-faced. They want to be doing, maybe they want to be on one side of the coin or not, or if they want to flip it over and say, okay, we're going to do tails. Is it heads or tails? And so let's say in Taiwan, they're saying we do heads, but not tails. Then we do tails, but not heads. So which one are we going to do? Heads or tails? Do you want, okay, the heads is nice. And maybe the tails is kind of militaristic, not nice. And so what they're doing is they're doing one thing at a time. They're not doing the whole coin. They're not being the coin. They're being one-sided. And they're okay with just being one-sided and all friendly. And that's great. But it has to be open and really doing an honest behavior. It's a problem that Taiwan needs to understand that is okay in America, that is covered up. So we're hiding that inside. So what we're doing is we're playing this mentality, this militaristic attitude on the outside, but it's really that inside, right? Or no? No. It's that we don't know how that really, works. So we don't know how that really works as a whole country. Nobody knows. Now let's talk about Donald Trump. This power he has is awesome. There's no one better than Donald Trump. Tell you what, and Biden, well, I'm just going to say that I wouldn't quite recommend the way he's doing it, but he's ultimately honest enough to actually do it. But the thing is that he switches. He is good at that, but does this underneath, which makes it feel false when you present it. So what it's two mentalities. We'll call them this mentality, that mentality is what we'll call them, because they're kind of like, they're undescribable. Like this would be a strong military holding a gun. This is like, not you. I'm only me. I'm not you. This is what I got. I'm strong. I'm closed off. I got my bars shut. I'm locked and loaded. This is what I do, not you. Now, I could also pretend when I get this to be nice and say, oh, hi. I kind of present that, but I'm really doing this. And then what you'll feel is false, like I'm false. It'll be a feeling of uneasiness, like I don't trust that guy. What is he doing wrong? Well, he's presenting something that's not real. He's doing that and mentality of friendliness. We'll call that mentality everyone else. He's saying, oh yeah, I'm them. How you doing? But he's really this. He's not them. So you can call this being not them. And understand what I want to tell you is we can be each other. It's not even strange to think that we can be ourselves. And when I was a kid, my dad dropped me off at school. He said, now you go and you be yourself today. You be yourself. And he said, I want you to stay here and wait for me and I'll pick you up. So stay here, and in class, I want you to know, I want you to be yourself. He told me that when I was a kid, and I was like, well, Dad, I am myself. I mean, who else could I be? I didn't actually ask him that question because when I was that age, I only remembered it later. But it was something that struck in my mind in a chord of, wow. I understood my dad was telling me to be myself, and ultimately I was being not myself. I was a kid running off to school being everyone else. So when I got into class, I wasn't even me. I was I was all that great. I was like everyone else. And when I got hurt because they picked on me and bullied on me in school, they beat me up for being everyone else. They were like, thought it was like stupidness. And they'd be like, oh my God, that stupid idiot, we're going to beat him up. So I was like, oh, great. Oh man. Until I got like, okay. And now I'm shutting off and I'm okay. Then I went home crying to my dad. They're beating me up. And he's like, okay, we're going to do this then. I want you to be strong and don't run away and be brave. He tried to teach me how to be brave. And he said, like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be brave and we're not going to be them and like them. We're going to say no, like strong. And he tried to help me cut off, disconnect. Basically, he helped me disconnect. And it was a good thing. This is what we did, was disconnect. We thought that we were doing the right thing, but we shut off ourselves from the world. We shut off ourselves from the world. That was our protection. We did that protection no longer. That friendly mentality of being others was gone in us. I went to school one day and my mentality changed utterly. I was like a different person. My dad taught me, and it was good because he taught me how to be strong and brave. And I eventually went up to the mountains by myself, way up in the mountains, and scared the hell out of myself to even be okay with trying to get this power. So I really achieved this great, strong mentality that felt really good, but it was cut off from the world. And then so I disconnected and I wouldn't even socialize with anybody. I wouldn't talk to anybody anymore. I had one or two friends and that was it. It's a good thing. They can see what you're doing. This world is not a place that not this will help us if that behavior is correctly done. that's not right with us. We're doing that wrong, being other people. We're pretending. We're hiding this mentality. So it's like a soldier with a gun, and he's holding an AR-15 loaded and locked. He's wearing military uniform. Well, I'm just using that example because I talked to this guy today that was telling me about how he was on the German wall. He was a soldier on the German wall, but the German wall's down. I told him it's not, and maybe I have the same problem. See, I have a problem being strong, and when I do this mentality of the soldier in it, I could totally protect myself. I feel strong and protected, but now I'm disconnected from the world. This is okay, and it must know and be aware that this is disconnected on purpose, and now it'll feel like suspicious. Something's wrong. It'll be like we're having war. It'll be a mentality of distrust, suspicion. This will be cut off, and it will also not socialize. And so what we're doing is we're presenting an attitude that we cherish, and it's two-faced. We're doing a two-faced lie at the top of the government, all the way up to Trump. And can I talk about that too? Trump is I love Trump. I just love him. I mean, this behavior he's got so nailed like perfect. So what he's presenting is what we're supposed to do, what Trump does. So the mentality of Trump is perfectly able to be copied, and Trump can do it. Not so well. Okay, well, I thought he could do it totally. Well, not so well. He is angry at Nancy Pelosi. She is a threat because she hates him. Understand what the damage is, the damage to this whole country when Nancy Pelosi is really mad. She's very powerful. She doesn't even know how powerful she is, and she's not even aware of what she truly represents in spirit. A strong, powerful, she's third in line for the presidency, if I'm correct. She's if the president and the vice president, something happened to them, they were caught somewhere and they got taken hostage somewhere and prisoner, well then Nancy Pelosi would be president of the United States. Not a fact. So I'm told it's not a fact. It's actually that someone in the White House is running the show behind closed doors? No. Under the radar. So it's a false mentality. It's felt by the whole world. The whole world feels what's really going on. They don't understand, though. The feeling is something's wrong. Like, I don't know what it is, but I don't trust. I'm suspicious of, it's a fact that, this is being too strong and cutting off the world as it pretends. I don't like that. I don't like saying this. Well, I mean, I don't know. Pretends for real? No. Pretends that it's open and it's closed, like Fort Knox. Yes. So it's acting open. It's a mentality that acts open to others, but it's totally closed off. Like it's shut down Fort Knox. And then it's like, hi, I'm shut down Fort Knox. My doors are shut and cut off from you. or maybe not he, ha ha. It could just be like, I'm how I'm presenting. Well, see, I can't even do it. I can't even do it. Understand? I can't even do it because I can't do it wrong. It's like it blows my mind to think I would even try it. I just did. And it's no way. I wouldn't even try it because that good place that we should be in is friendly and it's open. That we are doing it right, that we love each other, that we actually try, that we're actually feeling a connection that's actually real. And so we have empathy, sympathy, compassion, because that's right. That's open, not closed off. It's not Fort Knox. It's an open parade that's not funny though. And that is not Ronald McDonald. If it is Ronald McDonald, well, that's great for kids, but we can't be doing that for kids. Ronald McDonald clown behavior, because Taiwan doesn't have Ronald McDonald clown behavior. They want to be serious, right? Or wrong? No. They want to see that you understand that it's okay what this country is doing. It's not a threat, even though it feels like it. No, it's not a threat to present a closed mind. It's an American absolute way of life. It's American and the greatness of this great power, this strong, I'm only me, I'm a soldier, I'm a knight in shining armor, I'm a knight, maybe I'm a black knight, but I'm good. But ultimately, yes, that's a good example. Okay, yeah, like, so that's children. That mentality we present is children, mostly Ronald McDonald behavior, because because McDonald's is Ronald McDonald's is more important than the president and more popular than the president. And I love Biden, but just because I know he's good. But the reality is that he's stuck trying to present an attitude that is, well, it's two-faced, but it's not really his fault, because understand that we're all two-faced. It's not even, well, it is bad, but being two-faced is what we became, and we're not bad. We're just presenting it. Well, no one is going to trust us as we're two-faced. Yes, and no one will believe this is real. They will think you're pretending. Wow. Pretending. So they're not going to believe what I'm told, that they're not going to believe any of this, what I'm saying right now. But the reality is that it's a good thing that I'm showing them what that is really like. You know, I'm like a knight in shining armor. I'm also like a dark knight, and I'm good. And I don't know how to do all the time the mentality of what America does, because I'm Taiwanese or Vietnamese. I'm certainly more Vietnamese or Taiwanese than I am American. And that's why I'm so into this madness, because I'm not in Taiwan or Vietnam. So I don't see anybody that's my kind. So what I do is, like, I'm in a foreign land, like this country's not mine, but I'm more stronger in this against this. And I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to say, like, what is this crap? You know, like, I'm going to do this and say, what is this crap? I'm doing this. You're all wrong for doing this. Well, I'm doing this at you mad. I can't believe you're doing this. And I'm doing this at you, getting mad at you for doing this. So I'm this and saying this is wrong, but I'm doing it. It's madness. It's utter madness. It's okay It's okay what I'm doing right now. It's okay. It's not a threat to be a leader of men and women as a poor, homeless man may take a lead over those that are misrepresenting something so important to us. It's okay. You're not a threat. I'm not a threat. Understand that we're confused. We don't know how to be each other. We're closed off, so we're not each other. We're just ourselves. And all America knows how to do is be themselves. It's certainly okay, because the first Americans that came here, our forefathers, well, they made sure that when our Constitution rules out kings and all royal power, which means that in this country, if you're a king, well, you're certainly not a king, because we don't even recognize kings. There's a law, I can't remember what it was, that was made in 1779. What is it? Something about blood. What was it? The corruption of blood law. In 1779, there was a law that was called the corruption of blood law. And it was a law that said that all corrupted bloodlines are not corrupted anymore. And it declared, you could look this up, 1779, corruption of blood law. It was a declaration that said that all the corrupted lines of royalty that came to America are not corrupted bloodlines anymore. And that England can't say that we're corrupted bloodlines, because we're not. None of us are corrupted bloodlines. We're all fresh, good bloodlines. And then our Constitution ruled out all royal power in the United States, saying that the King of England can't come here and be saying he's king over us, which means that the spiritual royal domain that was empowered in England was real. So understand that there's a spiritual power and domain of spirit that's real. It's a pressing force, that the kings and the royal families possessed it and had it, were possessed by it. And it was what makes the royal families different from the regular people, which didn't have, well, that power and in this placement, that work in this placement. So England actually was doing something that was correct, or more correct than what we're doing. And so what we did is the royal families that came here to make America, to run from England, that's what they did. And also a lot of criminals came with in the boats, because England said, when England let all those corrupted royal families they said, you have to go, you have to die, or you have to leave. And ultimately they want to leave. They're like, we can't. Yeah, there were lines of kings that were denied because the king was in power already, and these lines were a threat, like, get out of here or we'll kill you. And they actually let these people, these royal families, build the boats. They didn't kill them. They knew who they were. They said, you can't stay here. You're not welcome, because you're a threat to the king himself. Because they were saying, we could be kings. Or there was, what about our line? Well, your line better get out of here. Okay, we're leaving. So the England said to the criminals that they were chasing, go get on those boats. We'll let you, because we don't have to chase you around anymore. And ultimately, England was smart. They said, all criminals that are charged with crimes that are big, and we will let you board those boats, and you have to work for free and get out of our country, and we won't have to even deal with you. So a lot of the criminals were allowed to leave. The lesser criminals, actually, the ones for murder and stuff, maybe they would say, we'll arrest you. But ultimately, those lesser crimes, there's lots of them. They said, get out of here, go with them. And the royal families, they didn't have anybody to run their boats. So they ultimately were like, well, we need experience, like, people to run these ships. We're building them. We have the money, but we don't know how to even, ride in the sea. So all these criminals and people came up and said, like, I am experienced, and like, I could run the mast, the sails. They got crews. They formed crews from the criminals and all the lowlifes. So when they left England to come to America, it was a combination of the worst not the worst criminals, but bad ones that were wanted, and they got to escape. and now they have to work for free, and they made contracts with the royal families that were actually owning the boats. Well, they had to work from like for a year or something, and then they would get free, just can go free in America. We then made a law that said all royal bloodlines will be dissolved, so we don't recognize royal power anymore. And what you need to know is royal power is real. It's a pressing force of something that actually works in this placement together, as a royal family might have a combination of like a prime 2. Like, I've got that great power in this spot together, and I'm royal. And ultimately, if you could do both sides of the coin, you could be the coin, and then you are royal. So think of the I want to describe to you the difference between an actual royal spirit and then just if you're just somebody normal. Let's look at a coin. A coin has two sides, a heads and a tails. If the coin is the heads and it's not the tails, it's just the heads, then we put the coin down heads up and we say it's not a coin, it's only one side. And it could be two-faced if it switches to the other side. So understand that when we put it down heads up, it might not ever switch because it's only doing one. I'm one-sided, I'm one-faced, I'm not two-faced. Okay, you're one-faced? Yeah. I don't switch sides. I stay right here. This is all I do. I'm heads. Okay, but what about that other side, that tails? I don't do that tails. I don't switch this. I do this only. Okay, so you're not going to ever turn your coin over? No, I'm not the coin. I'm only the face on one side of it. It's this. Okay, so what if we turn the coin over to the tail side? Then it's that, and maybe I don't like that, and so I'm going to want to switch back to the heads, and I like this on the heads. So I'm still not the coin. I'm one side or the other. So I can switch around. Okay, that's great. I'm not that long though. I don't want to be that long. And ultimately, that represents the tails, and it can't be the heads. So the heads is liking to be heads because it leads. If it's tails, it has to follow. And ultimately, it could learn to lead as tails, but it would have to learn that the tails is hard to do. That's hard to learn. Heads is easy. Just keep it on the heads. You're not the coin. You're not royal. So you're not royal if you're one of the sides of the other, and you could be tails and stay there, or you could be heads and stay there, and you're not counted as a coin. You're counted as a face on one side of it only, which is not royal. So what's royalty? Royalty would be like if I took the coin and I held it up to you and I said, I have both sides and not in a disposition. That side of the tails is okay with this side of the heads, and that I can follow, and this I could lead. And so I'm the whole coin. I'm counted as the coin. And it's a fact, royal blood lines are cut off from all power of English origin. So we are cut off as a royal family, as a royal bloodline. Well, the royal bloodline is cut off entirely from being, it can't be royal. It can't certainly be, it's forced to be one side or the other. And if it tries to be royal, it'll be the coin, and it's not in disposition. I want to tell you, whether I be royal or not, and I happen to be, my family was all royal, I'm just saying that I come from a background of a bunch of kings. I want to tell you about my background, and it's true, and I'm being told it's okay to say it. One of my first grandfathers goes back to Folk, and even farther, it starts with Henry II, and the whole Plantagenet bloodline was my grandfather's. So Henry II was my grandfather. I was related to Henry III, but and IV. No. Well, I'm going to tell you the ones that are actually my grandfathers, according to the Ancestry.com. Henry II, Edward I, Edward II, Edward III, John of Gaunt was my grandfather. John of Gaunt was the line that split the Yorks and the Lancasters into two groups, his sons, those were all my grandfathers. So the whole Plantagenet line. Then there was Charlemagne is one of my grandfathers. I'm related to Charlemagne himself, and he's way back there in the Roman Empire, I believe. And I'm related to Richard III, Edward IV, Elizabeth Woodville. They're cousins. I also have a grandfather named Bygod. His name was wow, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Bygod. It's not, his first name's not coming to me. He's one of my grandfathers. Francis Bygod. Francis Bygod got hung, drawn, and quartered. One of my grandfathers. They killed him and castrated him, and for the Bygod's rebellion. You could look that up. He was my grandfather, and he had a problem with something that he couldn't do, and he did that as a scholar. That behavior was scholarly, and it was kind of false. But he tried. He wasn't trying to. He was just doing it wrong, and so he basically got killed by King Henry VIII. So I'm related to also the entire Henry VII and the entire line. I'm related to King Henry VIII, King Henry VII. They were all, I think, cousins. And Henry VII and the entire Tudor line, Elizabeth Woodville and Catherine Woodville, all the Woodvilles, they got all ousted as kings and called false. Richard III, which was not a bad king. He was ultimately a good king. That's why they have a Richard III society. So anyways, what I want to say is that my whole family is royal, and it goes on different lines. My father's line was a line of Vikings, unfortunately. Vikings. The Giants that were on Ancestry.com? No. The Giants that you found? Well, they're certainly not going to believe it. Say it anyways. Okay, I'm told that I should tell you about, well, I found a giant. And, well, I was going on the road, and I had my camera, or my phone camera up. It was on while I'm driving. And in my head, a voice came in my head, and it said, take a picture of that hillside right there as I'm driving on the road. And I was way in the middle of nowhere, up in the mountains, driving on a curly road. And take a picture, and I'm driving fast, and the road's curly, so it's going right and left, a lot of turning. So I have to be careful while I'm taking pictures over my steering wheel. And I got this real feeling. It said, hurry up, take a picture of that hill. And I was just passing it, and I was hurrying up. I was trying to take a picture of it because someone's saying, do it now, you're going to pass it. And it's 10 miles. I'm like, well, okay. So I snapped the picture, and I looked at the hillside, and I didn't see much. There's nothing really there. And then 3 days later, I looked at the picture. Something prompted me to go look at my pictures. I didn't even look at them. I didn't think there was much. I saw what I was taking a picture of. It was just hillside, so I didn't really think there was anything to see. And then something prompted me in my head, go look at that picture. Remember? Went, yeah, okay. I did, and I saw what looked like a giant. Like it had legs. It was like huge. And I drove 3 days back to where I was because I was told go back there. And I know no one's going to believe. But say it anyways. You have told them everything they need to know. It's a fact that we need help, not hindrance. We as a nation are a good people. We strive hard for excellence, greatness. We are a great power in the world and an honor to ourselves. We must be kind to each other and grow up as a country. No more fighting. This needs help. This needs for mentality and former men of great men rule in this place of mentality. This is not okay when it's in disposition. So when you're doing this power, you can't be against other people. You've got to be doing this greatness, and we're going to be strong in this greatness. We don't fight. If we fight in this, while we take this, that's when we will fight. As we take this, we'll fight. This power is like being yourself. It's not anyone else. I'm only me, not you. And ultimately what I want you to know is I can be you, you can be me. Don't think we can be ourselves and that's all we could be. Why do you think we're shy in school? We're shy. We're shy because we're not ourselves. And when we're not shy, we are not ourselves. When we're not shy, we're brave enough to go talk to people. We're not others. We're being brave in this and scared in that. That's all I got. Is it true? That's all I have to offer you. This is my cover. So I'm doing this strong. I'm covering up that genuineness in me that is here. A lot of us are doing it. Most of us are genuine, and we look like we're not. The Taiwanese and the Vietnamese won't trust us and even Russia won't trust us. Russia certainly won't trust Ukraine because they don't know how to do that right either. Be others. They're hiding it. They're covering it up. We need to learn how to do and be each other and not just try to be ourselves. And America doesn't know how to be others. That's our problem. We need to fix it. We can fix it. So let's say that we're not a threat. Let's not be fighting. And let's be a great country that doesn't fight. This won't fight either. That we're not going to be mad at each other anymore because we're going to be like Trump if we're strong. And if the women hate Trump and Nancy Pelosi hates Trump, the whole world's going to hate because they're hating, which means the top of this government is ruling the world. Mentality and in the spirit, you're ruling everybody. What you do, they're going to do. What you're doing behind closed doors, they'll feel it and they'll do it, which means that you have to be a model and be open and honest, and you'll win. Good. It's time to end the video. Say goodbye and good luck to Taiwan and Vietnam and Russia. Ukraine is trying hard to change. Let them make the change. They are important and they're people too. That's it. I love y'all. I hope you can be open. Try not to fight. That's it. Good luck. Love you. Bye. I don't even know how to shut this off. How do you turn it off?